To truly give you the gift of freedom as you walk along the path of each daily shortcut episode, you'll discover that it's the people who you mastermind with that give you the power to transform your business. You'll take off in your business when you decide to slow down time and connect with other great mentors. When you decide to embrace fully the transformational information from one of my mentors, as we open a new door to a vehicle you can step inside and smile, taking one step and then the other. As we open a new door to a vehicle as you walk on a stage so we can celebrate you. Pay attention to William Wood in this special episode as he shines a light on the power you have inside so you can immerse yourself in the principles of success, lift your hands in the air, and be free.
I think I was at a Boy Scout camp and I was sitting on the edge of my log staring into the dancing fire. Reds and oranges and yellows all mixed together and moved in some kind of synchronous harmony, like they were dancing to...
I'm with the amazing Robert Smith. Now, for those of you who don't know who Robert Smith is, you do know my work, and you do know that I've been heavily involved in the coaching space. I've probably coached 6,500 people over the years, and Robert Smith is the founder of Faster EFT, which is a meridian tapping system. He's also the founder of the Skills to Change Institute and truly a tapping expert. And I want to say this, and this I don't say lightly, that there's only a few people's work who influence my work on a daily basis. Tim Halbum's one of them, one of my mentors. And Robert Smith, even though this is the first time that we're meeting live, I have followed his work from a distance, and I can say that I use his work almost every single day as I'm out working with clients. And I want to say this, his stuff is not only brilliant, it works, it gets results. And I want to tell you that this is a man that I look up to in terms of his ability to produce change. And so I want you to really pay attention to what he has to say. I want you to understand that if you really dial in, if you take notes throughout our interview, which will probably be broken up into a series of interviews here, you're going to learn some things that are going to help you get unstuck, help you get back into productivity, and really help you take back your mind. So, Robert, with that, welcome, and glad you're here.
Well, it's so good to be here. It's kind of exciting that, because I never knew you existed until you started contacting us. And yeah, it's really amazing. Thank you for following my work and sharing it. Good, exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And really, just for the listeners, I'd like you to just go through a little bit about your history, how you got into meridian tapping. We should probably talk a little bit about what it is, since a lot of people probably don't even know what meridian tapping is.
Well, I mean, if you start out, oh God, I can go back to when I was 15 years old. The first exposure to hypnosis, I started studying hypnosis at 15. Of course, I had a good reason. I'd left home and moved in with my grandmother. I had all this crazy emotional stuff dealing with my past, moving forward, married for 22 years, 18 years into marriage. Stuff is happening. She's before we got married, she said she was sexually abused as a child. And of course, at 22, you know what we're going to do with that. Pretend like you didn't hear it and move on. Right.
Right.
And so I got to the point, I bought a series. Now, of course, I call my system Faster of T. All right. Faster of T is an accumulation of many things. And one of the major part of Faster of T is how the mind works. And so I bought a course at a garage sale for $1. And that was Anthony Robbins' Your Unlimited Power. Now, this course, I got chills going right through me just thinking about it. This course has set me on a path to change myself, change my wife, my children, and others. And it's basically the understanding how the mind works, mechanics, the mechanical. And then, of course, Anthony Robbins, Unlimited Power. I listened to it thousands of times. Then I bought another course. He had like a 30-day tape series. Now, this is tape series, and I think this is around 94 or so. And it really changed my life because it changed my perception of who I was and what I thought I was and where I was going to go in my life. Then in 99, I bought an EFT course. Of course, at the time, that's when the stuff was going on with my wife and trying to figure out how to solve this problem. Mm-hmm. So I talked to a guy locally here, taught NLP, And, I didn't feel comfortable with him. I don't know what it was. This didn't jive. So I thought, well, can you send me a VHS tape? And so he sent me one. I watched it. I was like, can I talk to one of your students? So I talked to one of the students. She said, you should check out emofree.com. This is Gary Craig's EFT. All right. So I went there. I bought the whole course. Of course, we were broke. I mean, we're poor. We lived in a 14 by 80 trailer house, and I had 45 junk cars behind my home because I took parts off and sold it. That's where I come from. And so I watched this stuff and I knew there was something here. That's where it all began. Now, I was persistently studying NLP. Now, hypnosis and NLP is modeled after many hypnotists. Milton Erickson, Virginia Satir, she went a hypnotist with a family therapist, and lots of other people, which was the work of Dr. Richard Bandler and John Grinder. So here I got this tapping. And so a lot of people ask me, what is tapping? Why does tapping work? It seems weird. And it is weird, honestly, because it doesn't make logical sense.
Right.
If you don't understand. But, of course, I bought the EFT course. Their model of thinking is different than mine. Of course, when I bought the course, they had this mindset or attitude, which is consistent throughout the world. And that is the cause of your problem is disruption in your energy system. Or the cause of your problem is because there's ego. Or the cause of your problem is because there's a block in there or a wall in there. Or you just screwed up. You're just not working properly. Well, the problem with that mindset is that you're screwed. If you had a crappy childhood, you're going to have a crappy life. That's all you're going to have to do with. Right. And so what I discovered, and since my study of NLP, it's about thinking. And so Faster T is a thinking process, and realizing that you're not broken, you're not screwed up, you're successfully creating this blockage, this feeling of being not good enough. And there's a history to it. And so that's where I started. Of course, EFT, it has an interesting history with Faster T as well, because we're very effective in Faster T. And of course, when you're really good, you know how business works. So what is Faster T? Faster T is a thinking system. And why do you tap? There's two reasons why. When you're having a block or a problem or an issue at work or an issue at home or issue with yourself, this is a successful, undesirable outcome. That means internally, you're doing something correctly. Now, you consciously don't even know what the heck you're doing. Matter of fact, you can drive your car better than you can drive your own mind. Mm-hmm. So Faster T shows you how you're successful, and then it shows you how to make the changes. And you can make the changes that fast if you understand the structure of your own mind.
And the changes really, really do come quickly. Now, one of the things that a lot of people in the communities that I run in, or the people that I coach, bump into is they bump into problems specifically where they start to run into sabotage patterns, or they start to get really, really stuck. What have you found in working with people around sabotage? Let's start with self-sabotage.
Okay. First of all, there's no such thing as a saboteur within.
Yep.
It doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. So if you feel like, quote unquote, there's a saboteur, you don't understand. Mm-hmm. For example, what you have is you have, all your problems starts at birth. If you hadn't been born, there'd be no problems. From that moment forward, you start to become programmed by your environment, by what you witness and what you experience. So now at the unconscious level, when I say what's 5 times 5, automatically the number comes in 25. Now, it's not like when I say that, you go back and you go, okay, I'm in the 5th grade and we're learning multiplication tables. No, it just pops right in. So the saboteur is an automatic safety system that's keeping you in alignment with where you come from. Well, some people have memories of where they come from. Some people don't, because again, this amazing mind has this great ability to put the wall up so you can't see it and can't feel it again, because if you're dead, you'd probably be crazy and be in the mental institution like your sister or your brother or others. Or you'd be an alcoholic and doing whatever else that's crazy.
Right.
But what we do is understanding the structure of the saboteur, or the programming to keep you in a system that's not so healthy. And it's basically breaking down to linking together, like a typical program. I do really well, then all of a sudden I sabotage myself or whatever. And the reason is they don't know why. But when you start using, we have a process called the art of change, which is a system that elicits strategy on how you successfully create this idea that something's wrong with you. This lady, for example, she's very smart, very intelligent, very successful up until a point. And so if we started working, come to find out, it broke down to a memory reference by, if you understand memories, and we'll pause here, memories of anything before this moment are what I would call just a program. It's a program installed in your mental program, your computer. So now when I say 5 times 5, the program says 25, all right? So now when she started to be too successful, the program kicks in, and then she goes right back to where she's supposed to be. And it really broke down to a memory or an experience, which was she's smarter than her sister. And her mother kept saying, you don't need to do too good because you're going to hurt her feelings. Something as simple as a simple memory, which we will call an unconscious imprint. And this imprint will keep you in alignment with your unconscious system. And so in order to make peace with this seemingly saboteur, which is not, it's just a program to keep you in alignment.
Right.
You go back to the references and you actually rewrite your unconscious. The problem with memories is that we created what you call a value system from our experiences, and it gave us an identity. Unfortunately, we don't usually use all the good ones. We use the bad ones, and then we stay in alignment with it and then wonder why we're always alone, because when people get close to you, you feel trapped. And when they're not close to you, you feel alone and abandoned. And then there's like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. So what do? You have to make peace with both pieces. And next thing you know, your life is wonderful. So,
let's go back to this woman. So this woman has this old memory that says, don't do too good, or you're going to hurt your sister. What did you do? Walk us through the process of how you approached that, how you helped her change and break through that cycle.
Well, okay. So first of all, it's if you understand problems or beliefs, all right, what is a belief? First, I got to lay a foundation, because if I say this, it won't make sense.
Sure.
Belief has 2 pieces that make it real and true. One, proofs, which are usually conscious proof, and it could be unconscious proofs.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the mind will create what you call a link between a smell or a taste, and it equals love or something else, chocolate, for example. And there's no love in chocolate, but there's a link at an unconscious level. Pavlov, ring the bell, feed the dog. So we have a belief. A belief has emotions, feelings, and sensations, and it drives the belief system. So we have proofs, an emotional system, an unconscious system that drives you. All right. So she comes to see me and she says, I keep sabotaging myself. I try to get better, and all of a sudden I do this. Now, consciously, she does not know why.
Right.
No, that have no idea why. Mm-hmm. She just successfully always keeps repeating the same pattern. So what I do is I ask questions. We call the brief art of change, and we got the full art of change. And art of change, again, is a set of questions. So I ask the questions. Have you ever? Do you know anyone else? And then we just do a list of memories and experiences. And again, in order to have a problem, you got to have proofs. You have references. So what it is, I listed her proofs, which is her belief system, what she doesn't want, what she's afraid of, her worst of the worst, and what happens if she does. Because again, this whole creates what we'd call the saboteur, but really it's just staying in alignment with our emotional life system. So I get the memories, the structure, then I go start re-imprinting memories. Mm-hmm. Re-imprinting means you go to the memory and you rewrite the memory. That means the original memory. Now again, remember, memories are not real. They're just written on the cortex of your mind, and when you go back there and you remember something, it feels real. Why? Because you're really here, you're talking to me, you go back and remember something, and you feel like you're there. That's hypnosis. That's an unconscious trance. It's a trance that you don't even know that you're in it. You think you're doing it to yourself. So that's a memory, and that's a trance. And so what we do is we just go break the trance, rewrite the story, and put positive stuff in there. So now when she goes back to the story's different. That means she's okay to be successful. Now here's the weird thing, is something, it's weird, especially like when I was growing up in school, I was never the smartest or the prettiest or the fastest, So when you're pretty and you're smart, you've got high intelligence, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like that. And if they don't like that, then they're going to pick on you. Now, if you're not emotionally intelligent enough to handle it, you're going to believe the lie. Well, I shouldn't be so smart. I should make myself and keep myself little, because if I'm little, at least I won't get picked on, beat up, and abused and rejected. And so now that's why. Now, consciously, she had no idea. So what it is, I go back, reimprint memories. Memory could be one memory, could be 500 memories. These memories create what you call a belief or a behavior. So I go to the foundation, rewrite the foundation. All of a sudden, you will act totally different and not even know you're acting differently, and then you move beyond that. That's how I do it. I could tell you thousands of stories like this.
I hope you got as much out of my interview with Robert Smith as I did. I know I'll be going back in to watch and to take some notes and to learn. This is a man who has developed a system that has really and truly reached many, many lives. And so I just want to thank Robert again for being here today. And I also want to say that if you got a lot out of today's show, one of the ways that you can lock in the learnings that you got is by going down below and leaving a comment. And when you do, you're going to qualify for a free book. We're going to give away a free copy of Monsters and Magical Sticks, which is a book that I recommend all the time. It's a book that Robert recommends all the time too. And we're going to give that away to somebody who leaves a really deeply thoughtful comment down in the comments below. Now, also, if you want to get more information like the information we shared today, you're going to want to make sure that you subscribe to our daily show. And you do that by going down to the bottom here of the page and clicking on the button and clicking the subscribe button. When you do, you're going to get some extra bonuses. And one of the bonuses you're going to get is you're going to get a transcription of today's episode. You're going to go ahead and get an audio version of the episode. And then, of course, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, we put out some amazing content. Some days it's me, some days it's my brother, some days we invite on a guest like we did today. And this show is dedicated 5 days a week to giving you the information that you need to be able to take your life up to the next level. Now, a lot of days we're talking about business concepts. Some days we're talking about personal development concepts like we did today. The reality is that what you do with your mind affects everything in your relationships, everything in your business, everything in your personal life. And so we want to make sure that you understand how to take your life to the next level. So make sure you go to the bottom of the page, click the button below, enter your email, and then you'll be on your way. And check your email out for some amazing bonuses coming in your direction. We'll talk here soon.